Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Ohio.
As the Chicago Cubs Hall of Famer Ernie Banks once said, it's a beautiful day, let's play too. Well, we will at Great American Ballpark today, and guess what? The Cubs are in town. It's the Cubs against the Reds. Games 2 and 3 of the 4-game set on Fox Sports Ohio. Hi, hello, and welcome to Cincinnati, everyone. Along with the Cowboy Jeff Brantley, I'm George Grant. Playing 2 is no different for this guy. A couple of times he had saves in both games of a doubleheader. It creates a challenge.
It does create a challenge. It creates a challenge both for the manager trying to set lineups and for the players trying to figure out, am I playing 2 today or am I playing 1?
Cowboy, I'm sure that Todd Frazier's going to play 2 today because he's been red hot. Another 2-for-4 home run night last night. He's been key.
He really has, George, and not only for this ball club since Joey Votto has been out, but he's been key, especially against this Cubs ball club. You watch what he's been able to do, and I guess every player has a team where they can really put up numbers, and for young Todd Frazier, it has been against this Cub ball club. It seems like every time he comes to the plate, there's runners on base, and he gets the big hit, and boy, did he have one heck of a big hit last night.
Frazier had a homer, Ludwig had a homer, Bruce had a homer. Add it all up, the Reds had a win against the Cubs, and against the Chicago Cubs this year, this guy's had 5 multi-hit games.
It's amazing that he can continue to do that against one team over and over again. You would think that they would change the scouting report, change something that they do to him, but every time they change, he changes as well.
Tell you one thing, the scouting report for the Cubs says we're going to face a tough right-hander. And for the Reds, same story. Jeff Samardzich's been pitching well. And how about Johnny Cueto? He has too. That's coming up next on Fox Sports Ohio.
Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
A resplendent day for baseball or just about anything else at Great American Ballpark as the Cubs and Reds are ready to go to work. Today's weather report brought to you by Thompson Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drain Cleaning. Here's the latest on the weather picture from Channel 12's Aaron Seabree.
The baseball game looks perfect for today. We'll see a dry sky, a lot of sunshine. Look for mostly to partly sunny conditions by the first pitch, partly sunny. We'll see temperatures around 74 degrees, 77, and by the fifth inning, near 80 at the final out. Things looking pretty nice for this evening as well.
Thanks, Aaron. That's a pretty picture, and a pretty picture with this guy on the mound. Cowboy, he has been unbelievable in day games.
Well, I don't know what it is about Johnny Cueto. When the sun shines, he is absolutely dominant. And when I say dominant, I'm talking unbeatable here in 2012. 10-0 with a 1.55 earned run average. Cueto has all the stuff. We've seen him do it time and time again. But you start looking at those names, Strasburg, Kershaw, and you look at 10-0 with the ERA that Cueto has. Something special about when the sun breaks out on the head of Johnny Cueto.
Well,
Must be the curls.
It's working, whatever it is. Johnny may only be about 5'10". This guy's a big, hulking former football player, but Jeff Samardzija is pitching his best baseball of the season.
He really has started here in the second half on a heck of a run. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that this kid, former football player, finally learning how to pitch. And they had him in the bullpen for the most of his career. Now he's in the rotation, and you see the numbers there in the second half. A 2.35 earned run average. Last time in this ballpark pitching against the Reds, he had an absolutely tremendous ball game. 7 strikeouts, 7 2/3 innings, only 3 hits.
Samardzija against Cueto, that's a pretty good matchup. Dale Swaim's lineup, Dusty Baker's defense, all that and more coming up. Reds and the Cubs next on Fox Sports Ohio. Now being brought to you by the 2012 Ford F-150 Motor Trend Truck of the Year by the Regional Tourism Network. Let us be your travel guide to Cincinnati, USA. Visit CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Hey, game time is Skyline time. Stop by your favorite Skyline Chili today. filing in at Great American Ballpark. Great crowd, over 35,000 last night. Good crowds this afternoon and tonight, and then a near sellout tomorrow as well. So they're jamming Great American Ballpark for this showdown. Let's check the starting lineup for Dale Swaim and the Cubs. David DeJesus will lead it off. He'll play right. Josh Vitters, the youngster, up along with Brett Jackson. Two of their fine young prospects will be at third. He'll bat second. Anthony Rizzo, who's taken over at first base, will hit in the 3 spot. Alfonso Soriano will hit cleanup. Starlin Castro, Wellington Castillo, Brett Jackson, Darwin Barney, and Samardzija, a good hitting pitcher, bats in the 9th spot. And here's Johnny. Pretty impressive numbers, Cowboy.
They really are, George. And we talked about how well he's done during the day. The biggest thing for Johnny Cueto is strike one, and he pours it in.
That's a barked out strike 2 from the home plate umpire Paul Schreiber. David Rackley's at first, Laz Diaz at second. Tim Welke, your crew chief, is the umpire at third.
You look at this Cubs lineup, the only guy that's had any semblance of success against Cueto at all has been Alfonso Soriano.
I got him on the shirt, so the 0-2 is inside. Johnny slaps his glove. He wanted it inside, but not that far. So hit batter, and the runner's on at first base. I checked the forward defensive alignment for the Reds. They've been either 1 or 2 all year in defense. A little changeup in game 1. Xavier Paul in left, Heisey for Stubbs in center. Bruce is over in right. Frazier moves from first to third, meaning Cairo will be at first. Cozart Phillips, the usual double play combo, and as usual, Hannigan catches Cueto. That's your forward defensive alignment. Here's Vitters, in at only 103, no homers, 3 knocked in. Pretty good approach at the plate, though. He and Jackson are the 2 young players that the Cubs and their new general manager Theo Epstein want to get a look at in the final couple of months of the season. Good approach at the plate, short swing, and a guy who has shown some maturity.
You look at what the Reds are trying to do, and that's find out who they want to have on that playoff roster as they head towards September. And from the Cubs standpoint, I would imagine they're trying to figure out who they want to have on their roster come 2013. It's a whole different scenario if you're the guys in blue.
14 different players on this club that were there at the start of the season, and Vitters is one of them. He's a first-round draft pick of the Cubs back in 2007. He's been in the Cubs organization for 6 years. California native, the Gatorade Player of the Year. This one high in the air to left center field. Who'll take charge? Xavier Paul will. Tagging up at first is DeJesus, who's a good base runner, but he'll slam on the brakes. David had designs on getting to second. There's Dave McKay, the first base coach. He handles the base running and the outfield play. Brilliant defender in his day, an outstanding coach. First time since 1983 he's been on a staff without Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa. He followed La Russa and Duncan from Chicago to Oakland, and then from Oakland, of course, to St. Louis. He continues to work hard with these young outfielders and young base runners. So 1 away, and here's Anthony Rizzo. Rizzo 299. Dribble to the right side. That'll go foul. 9 homers, 25 knocked in. And it was a year ago when Rizzo was brought up in San Diego. People thinking that he might be their first baseman of the future. He struggled big time.
Trying to do too much.
Learned his lesson when the Padres traded for Yonder Alonso. They made him available. Cubs picked him up. And there is a timeline, too. Remember, he was originally drafted by the Red Sox. Jed Hoyer became the general manager, former guy in Boston, then to San Diego. And now Theo's the general manager here.
Well, there's no doubt that Rizzo has the talent to play here in the big leagues. The obvious issue is, can he download himself from the adrenaline standpoint to just do what he normally does in the minor leagues, and that is hit the baseball with authority.
Setting up down and away is Hannigan. There's the 0-2. Got him. Oh, what a perfect pitch.
Back-to-back changeups, one that he dribbles at home plate for a foul ball, and that one he chased well off the outside corner. Cueto coming right out of the gate with perfect pitches. Well, that ball started in the heart of the plate and took a right turn.
Here's the aforementioned Alfonso Soriano. You mentioned the success he's had. He has 3 home runs against Cueto. His overall average hasn't been great. He's only 10 for 37, but he's run into a few.
And that's the key today for Cueto. You'd rather not have anybody aboard when Soriano comes to the plate, because he can run into a mistake. He can run into a good pitch.
21 homers, 71 knocked in off the end of the bat. He had an 0 for 4 last night and a walk. And 4 of the Reds' victories against the Cubs, Soriano's wound up being the last or next to last out against Aroldis Chapman. Chapman struck him out 3 times in Chicago, and he got him to ground out for the final out last night.
Well, he struck out 109 times coming into today, so he will swing at just about anything that comes plateward.
Overall 260 with the 21 homers, 71 knocked in. He's about the last regular from that old style group of Chicago Cubs. 1 more year left on his contract next year, worth $17 million.
Now
they've tried to trade him, but nothing going on. Cueto already has 7 pickoffs on the year, and you know that the scouting report tells De Jesus that, but he almost got picked anyways. Whew, I'd have had him.
That throw was so good, all Miguel Cairo had to do was catch the ball. He didn't have to even move the glove. Just catch it and let the slide come into him.
That's a strike. 2-2. Two outs. You missed by much. So we'll go full. De Jesus will be off and running.
Johnny started a 2-seam fastball out there and ran it back to the corner to get the count at 2-2. That was a 4-seamer, just an inch or maybe a little more than that off the outside corner, trying to get him to swing.
Runner going, dribble foul. You sound like Doug Harvey now. Did he ever tell you that was that was a 1/4 of an inch off the plate for a ball?
Son, the red stitching on the ball get the black on the plate, and the black is a ball. Oh, I didn't know that, Mr. Harvey. Thank you.
3-2, 2 outs. Runner going again. Uh-oh, this one drilled deep to left. That's going way back, and it's long gone. An upper deck shot for Alfonso Soriano, his 4th career homer against Cueto, and the Cubs take an early lead. Unlikely as it is, with Soriano touching Cueto for a homer here.
Not where he wanted that fastball, I can assure you. Wanted it down and away, and the ball ran right back over the middle of the plate. A 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and you can see bat meet baseball. That even sounded ugly.
Runs batted in, number 999 and 1,000 of Soriano's career. Been sitting on that milestone for a while, and he picks it up here. So a quick lead for the Cubs, 2-0, and here's the fine young shortstop, Starlin Castro.
Castro has gotten himself almost in the same type of situation that Soriano's in. he will swing at just about everything that comes up there. To walk this guy is very difficult. Only 21 walks in 471 at bats. That tells me that he's looking to swing early and he's looking to swing often.
See the numbers against Cueto, 4 for 21, and you go down this lineup. Rizzo had never had a hit. De Jesus 4 for 13 coming in. Barney 1 for 7. Jackson got a hit in Chicago last week, but not many, and that's true throughout the league. Have had success against Johnny. I mean, this is his 25th start this year, and Cowboy talked about his great daytime record. But really, not just the 25 starts this year where he's been brilliant. Go back 2 years. 48 starts. He's got the number one earned run average in all of baseball. 2.63 over the last 2 years. Cozart just do get him. The Speedy Castro almost beats it out. But a hit batter and a big swing. 2-0 Cubs. Lead 2-0. We go to the bottom of 1. Let's check Dusty Baker's starting lineup. Zach Cozart back in the leadoff spot. Chris Heisey will bat second, playing center field. Brandon Phillips in the number 3 hole. Jay Bruce hits cleanup in game number 1. Frazier behind him. Xavier Paul, the Reds' best pinch hitter this season, will get a start over in left field. Miguel Cairo, with Frazier moving to third, will play first. He'll hit 7th. Hannigan and Cueto round out this starting 9. That's your Cincinnati Reds batting order. Here's the big, tall righty, Jeff Samardzija.
Samardzija, as we were talking about earlier, last time in this ballpark against the Reds, and it was back in May. 7 2/3 innings, and he was outstanding. Only gave up 1 earned run on 3 hits. Struck out 7. And what was even more amazing is his control was awfully good. He only walked a couple of batters. Hard sinking fastball in on the right-handers, and his slider has really come a long way.
I think you said it so correctly. He's becoming a pitcher, not just a thrower. It was so evident last time out against the Reds in Chicago. He's not trying to throw everything with max effort. He took a little off his slider, not trying to throw it through a brick wall every time.
Well, and a lot of that is not trying to strike out every batter on the first pitch you throw. And that goes back to max effort on every pitch. When you come out of the bullpen, that's how you've learned. And that's where they stuck him right when he came to the big leagues. Put him down in the bullpen and said, here, throw it as hard as you can and get them all out.
Pretty good numbers. 7 2/3, 3 hits, 1 run, and 95 economical pitches. Swing and a miss. That's out number 1. Samardzija takes the strikeout. Here's your Chicago Cubs defense. They are currently 9th in the league defensively with 75 errors. Soriano, Jackson, De Jesus in the outfield. Josh Vitter's over at third. Castro and Barney, the everyday double play combo. And Rizzo, as usual, over at first. Wellington Castillo is your catcher. You know, Giovanni Soto was one of those who was shipped out of town. And talking to Dale Swain, the manager of this club, he feels that he has the aptitude and the attitude as well as the ability to be their regular catcher. He's getting a chance to show what he can do here.
Well, I think as far as putting the bat on the baseball, Castillo will do fine. The biggest challenge for him is the fact that he's got to understand he's responsible for not only himself on the field of play, but also the pitcher as well.
Well, Heisey gets plunked on the arm, so just like Cueto, an 0-2 pitch, and Samardzija saying he ran into it. Paul Schreiber not buying that.
I think Samardzija thinks the ball hit the end of the bat, the bottom of the bat. Well, that definitely got his hand. May have got part of the bat as well, but it definitely got his hand.
See, as he said, as he first came out, he said he ran right into that.
Yeah.
Stepped into it. Doesn't make any difference.
When they call that one, call me.
Yeah. Did you ever talk an umpire into that? Here's Phillips. Brandon at 291, 13 homers, 64 knocked in.
That's where all that equipment came from that the hitters wear. You can lean right out over that plate and let the ball hit them.
That's the pitchers union talking right there.
Yeah, you got that right. I'm the president.
That's right. No balls, one strike. Brandon has been immense since the All-Star break. Over 300, 321, 3 homers, 16 runs batted in, filling in his number 3 spot, the home of Joey Votto. And the Reds, of course, still waiting to get their MVP candidate back in the lineup. He will not go on the road trip this coming week when the Reds go to Philadelphia. Little by little, they want to make sure he's 100% or as close to 100% as he can be. But you pointed it out, Jeff, that it's not just getting back. He's going to need some time here and there, a day off here or there. Phillips sends it pretty good to left center, but it's going to stay in the park. Jackson cuts in front of Soriano and hauls it in for the out. Second out. A little bit towards the end of the bat, didn't quite get all of that. Picture perfect sky, isn't it? Beautiful day for baseball. It's a day-night doubleheader, not a straight doubleheader. Tonight it'll be Todd Redmond making his first start for the Reds. He's been up a couple of times, but this time he'll actually start. Reds live at 6:30, game at 7 against Brooks Raley, and this will end the Reds stretch of 121 consecutive games with only their 5 regular starters starting. Impressive compilation of 5 months of baseball.
Truly amazing that not only those 5 have been able to make their starts every 5th day, stay healthy, but they have compiled statistics that really put them in the top 5 in almost all the categories. I mean, they rank awfully well as far as a starting rotation, much less a pitching staff.
Breaking ball outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jay in his career 2 for 5 against Samardzija. Hit his 25th home run last night. It came in his at bat after he was plunked by Travis Wood. That's up and in. Last night, after a home run, he gets drilled. And talking to Jay after the game, he said, I looked 3 times at Wood. He wouldn't look at me. And next time up, he drills one into the seats. They texted each other after the game, and he told Wood, he said, I wanted you to take a peek at me. And I talked to Wood and after the game, and he said I was trying to pitch inside. There was no harm intended at all. And Jay Bruce felt the same way. Well, but it certainly did ignite the Reds.
Yeah, in this ballpark, you almost, as soon as if a ball leaves the ballpark, especially the way that Travis has given them up this year, you've got to pitch inside. And he got the ball.
Oh, they had him dead to rights, but he's going to make it to second. They picked the right pitch to throw over 2-2. Heisey was going.
Yes, he was. And he was a dead duck if Rizzo comes up with the baseball. That ball just happened to be a wide throw, and Rizzo looked like he slipped in the dirt just for a slight moment. And that allows Heisey to make it to second base.
Error on Samardzija. No harm, though. He'll strike out Bruce. So he strikes out 2 in the first. Reds get a runner, nothing to show for it. 2-0 heading to the second.
A header is just a double header. You know, you just play one game, get ready for the next. Hopefully you can win the first one, man. I mean, that's what it's all about. You got to make sure you win that first one because, I mean, double headers can be a good thing for a position player. You can go 0 for 12. You know what I'm saying? You never know what you can really do. You can have a good day or you can have a bad day.
Today's storylines brought to you by Elk & Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. 1-800-ELK, Ohio. A doubleheader is just a doubleheader. Cowboy, you went through a few of them. Traditional doubleheaders and day-night doubleheaders. And I know at least a couple of times, I know you did it with San Francisco. I know you did it with us. How many times did you get saves in both games of a doubleheader?
You know, I don't know the exact number, but I know it was more than twice because I know I did it in San Francisco and I know I did it here in Cincinnati. I don't think I was healthy enough to do it after Cincinnati. But really, when you're playing a doubleheader, I mean, you're already loose. You're ready to go. You're coming out of the bullpen. It's not like you're doing anything different. At least it didn't feel like that way to me.
A traditional doubleheader, probably easier than the day-night variety.
Much more so, as far as pitchers go.
Swing and a miss. Castillo retired. Second strikeout for Cueto. One away here in the second, and here comes Brett Jackson.
Another changeup. You can see this ball start to dive down. and swing right before the ball gets there.
You always talk about pitch location, more important than pitch selection. I remember asking Greg Maddux once, who had a tremendous changeup, that what was the most important fundamental part of his changeup. I said, did your location mean that much? He said, it's the only pitch I never really worried about location. It's deception. Yep. I mean, how many times have you seen a changeup almost down the middle, but you get a hit way out in front?
Well, just like that last pitch to Castillo. It appeared as though he was going to be right on the baseball, and you could see it in the slow-mo on the replay, where the end of the bat passed right by the edge of the baseball. And if that doesn't tell you he's out in front of it, I don't know what does.
Jackson bounces out. Here's Darwin Barney at 268, 6 homers, 35 knocked in. Here's another look.
Well, you watch here, and it's just the fact that he runs out of bat. You see the bat come through there. Now, if the bat had been another 4 or 5 inches longer, maybe he would have hit the ball. But he ran out of distance.
No balls, 2 strikes. There are a lot of ways to describe it. Warren Spahn always says hitting is timing, pitching is disrupting timing. Ray Miller said work fast, throw strikes, change speeds. Off balance throw. Frazier won't throw out the speedy Barney. It's an infield hit for Darwin Barney.
Ball looked like it took a very funky spin as it hit the grass when Frazier was coming in from third base. The ball goes off the plate. See the ball take a right turn there? It looked like it just broke directly towards the third baseline. Ball had some major spin on it as it hit the ground.
Looked like one of your 9-iron shots.
Yeah. One of my shanks.
There's Samardzija in at 125. Does have 5 hits on the season. 3 runs batted in, no extra base hits. Cozart will tap the bag. That'll do it. A hit, a runner left. Reds looking for some offense. Frazier, Paul Cairo duo. $1 Furniture Fair shopping spree from the Reds and Furniture Fair. Visit the registration table located outside Section 120 inside the ballpark before September 27th for an entry form. No purchase necessary. Postcard entries are also accepted. I was wondering what Jesse was doing when we got here. He had all those postcards, Cowboys, filling them out.
Yeah.
Trying to get Ann a new living room set, huh? What'd you get for your birthday, Jess? Anything good?
Got a bonfire.
A smile and a kiss.
Got a bonfire with all those candles.
Samardzija back to work. Hit a batter in the first. Struck out 2. Here's Frazier, then Paul, and then Cairo due up. Todd is 0 for 2 against Samardzija in their matchup last week in Chicago. Castro can't get it. There's a base hit. Another good night last night. 2 for 4 and a homer. He just keeps swinging it. Here's tonight's Farmers Insurance report card. Day night, we talked about Johnny Cueto. How does he shape up?
Day games don't look so hot for the old boy. A 5.56 earned run average versus 2.57. I think you can pretty much figure that out. It's a little more than double. But it's all about the game at hand. If it was about stats on a piece of paper, they'd never play the games.
Well, the Reds have had 2 base runners already, and if you want to do anything to disrupt this big guy, it's try to get him to work out of the stretch early. He's still a work in progress on his mechanics, especially out of the stretch, even though he spent a lot of time in the bullpen.
Well, not only that, George, but with a young pitcher, especially a strikeout pitcher like Samardzija is, when you put runners on base, that's when he goes into strikeout mode. That's when he really tries to dial it up a little bit and make much better pitches, and it taxes him more.
You echoed what Dale Swaim was saying about this young man. He said Chris Bosio spent a lot of time with him trying to mentally let him understand that he's a pitcher, not a thrower. And we've come a long way this year, but there are times where you speed the game up, your mechanics speed up, you're trying to throw the ball through a brick wall, and that's when he gets himself in trouble. Drilled right field. Xavier delivers. We got a tie ball game. Boy, he's put some good swings on the ball this year.
I never thought that he could hit the fastball the way that he does. But when he's looking dead red and you lay it in there for him, he is going to hammer it. He doesn't miss it.
Idell, Louisiana is smiling with that swing, huh?
Tell you what, he has made a heck of an impact on this club since he has been here. And good for him.
That's a hammer. Well, Soriano sounded good, and that sounded good too.
Well, George, you were making reference to Greg Maddux earlier, talking about pitching with runners on base. Maddux was always of the opinion that when you got runners on base, you slowed the ball down. And the reason that you did that is because of the aggressiveness of the hitter. You slow it down a little bit. The aggression of the hitter takes them out in front of the baseball. They swing over the top of it. You either get a ground ball or you get a pop-up. If you try to overthrow, as we saw right there, the ball straightens out. The ball stays in the middle of the plate. And bing, bang, boom, tie ball game.
Happened fast for the Cubs in the first after the hit batter and the homer, and it happened fast for the Reds here in the second. Single by Frazier, homer by Paul. We're tied at 2. Here's Ryan Hannigan. 1 for 2 in his career against Samardzija. No balls, 2 strikes. But you know, we spent a good part of the first part of this year, and you've mentioned it so often, that the Reds really had a big hole in their bench. Somebody from the left side that you could count on to come up with a big hit, contact. when you needed it.
And they really tried to do it from within, and that's what you do. You try to work from within your organization to begin with. See if you can find somebody within your organization without bringing someone up too early to see if you can fill that role. And it didn't happen. And as soon as Xavier Paul was let go or asked for his release from Washington, the Reds were on that like white on rice.
Rizzo scoops it. Samardzija will tap the bag. 2 away. On the 3-1 put out, here comes Johnny Cueto.
I believe it was Washington. I think that's right.
You look at different ways to fill a need, and you know, when you look at the job that the Reds did, what Walt Jocketty did in the offseason to prepare this team for this year, I mean, there were some key acquisitions, you know, and certainly Ryan Ludwig has stepped up in the second half, and it's only been the patience of the Reds organization and Dusty Baker to keep putting him out there when he was struggling in the first half, hoping that he can do what Walt Jocketty hoped he could do, and it's come to fruition in the second half.
Well, just talking with Ryan as we were walking in today, I mean, just you see the smile, you see the swagger, and you know, just the feel good about being able to be a productive guy on a championship type caliber team again.
Castro has it, and he'll beat Cueto by half a step. But the Reds get some action going. Frazier starts it. Paul delivers. Ba-boom. 2-2 tie. Cole one to look forward to Miller time later in today's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. I gotta believe the Miller Lite vendors will be busy. Don't forget, right now on FoxSportsOhio.com, Al McCoy's latest article on the Reds highlights. They're winning at a scary pace. Plus, the Bengals cut wide receiver Jordan Shipley yesterday. Zach Jackson explains why. Find out all that and more right now on FoxSportsOhio.com. The real McCoy. Al McCoy's in the house. Great to have him, the Hall of Famer. Great to have number 26 in the lineup today. Xavier Paul delivers with a home run. His first, but he's come up with some big hits off the bench. This as a starter today. So Cueto's back in a brand new game. The Cubs got a hit batter and a homer from Alfonso Soriano in the first. And here we go, top of the order in the third. David DeJesus, Josh Vitters, Anthony Rizzo. Good, solid outfielder. This guy is. He's played center, can play it well. Playing right now. 9 years with Kansas City. His 10th year in the major leagues. Very solid.
I really did not think that he was going to last in a Cubs uniform past the trade deadline. Not with his on base percentage and the fact that he hits from the left side. Maybe the Cubs are asking too much for him. Who knows?
Well, they unloaded a bunch of folks.
Yeah, they did.
And Matt Garza, they thought would be one too, but he's on the disabled list. Just prior to the trading deadline, it looked like he was assuredly gone, but he's on the DL. He may pitch again or he may not pitch again before the year is over. And you know, if you're Theo Epstein and you're that guy there, Dale Swain, why not take a look at your young players like Vitters and like Jackson? Cueto there taps the back.
Nice play. That looks so easy, but yet running to first full speed, trying to find that bag and catch a bullet throw from your first baseman. I don't care how many times you practice it, it's never easy. And you can see Cueto stop. You're like a quarterback trying to lead that wide receiver into the corner of the end zone. Cueto with a nice job finds the ball first, then the bag.
One away. Here's Vitters. You know, Cobb, I remember when Joey Votto first came up and we went to New York. Rather, New York came here. The Mets came here, and Keith Hernandez was broadcasting the games. And I've known Keith since I first got into baseball, and maybe the best defensive first baseman of our generation. He reinvented the game. He was an offensive first baseman. He would, like, you know, Pete Rose charging you, trying to make you break you up from third, and he would do the same thing. He was miraculous around the bag. He was great at handling throws, great at delivering throws. There's a swing by Vitters and a fly ball to center. And I remember he took some time to talk to Joey about playing first base, about the philosophy of it. And he said the most important thing that you want to do as a first baseman on a play like that is make sure you get the ball as quick as you can to your pitcher.
Right.
Don't hang them up. Don't let them end up on the bag with the ball getting there at the same time.
Yeah, because you're dead if that happens. The pitcher, anyway. You always want the ball as soon as possible, because you don't know if you're going to bobble it. You don't know if you're going to overrun the bag. You don't know if your line is going to be right. You're just running straight there and you're watching the ball at the same time.
You said it last night when we were talking about the play that Frazier made. You said as a pitcher you wanted the ball fast and right at your throat. And it might have sounded funny, but you want it here. You don't want to be reaching way out here or way out there. You want it right in your body.
That's right. Because I can catch that one.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to protect my throat, I guarantee.
Well, you were a shortstop anyway. You grew up as a shortstop, so you could handle it defensively. But some of these long, lanky pitchers, it becomes even more critical to give it to them right around their chest head area. Frazier, backhand, long throw. He got him. Wow. Ho-ho. Well, last night we were talking about his play at first. Today, how about this one at third, Cowboy?
He's putting on a clinic. I mean, that's a great job of hitting, but watch this throw.
Dandy. Well, Reds fans, if a Reds home run hits the Toyota sign during today's game, Robbie Moore from Jackson, Kentucky will win this beautiful new Tundra on display at Great American Ballpark. Register for your chance to win at an upcoming game by seeing your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Here's Zach Cozart, top of the order for the Reds. He struck out against Samardzija first time up. Breaking ball outside. 2-0. Reds had a hit batter in the first. Heisey got blunt. Nothing to show for it. Frazier led off with a single, then a home run by Paul in the second, tied the game at 2. That came after a 2-run home run by Alfonso Soriano in the first after De Jesus was hit by a pitch. 2 runs, 2 hits for each club. Lined in the left. That'll drop for a base hit. Cozart around first, looking for 2. Heading into second. Here comes the throw. He's going to be in there. 5th double of the week for Zach Cozart.
George, they are going to challenge Soriano every time the ball heads to left field. If he's not going to get on his horse and make a perfect throw, he's not going to get him. The Reds are going to run on him every time the ball's hit that way.
That's about as good a play as Soriano could make on that.
And still couldn't get it.
That's Zach Cozart, safe at second, safe and secure.
New York Live.
That's a life of 32 baggers in a season for Cozart. Another candidate for Rookie of the Year, and for good reason. Here's Heisey, who was hit by a pitch first time up. They're expecting bunt at first as Rizzo's 3 steps in on the grass. Now it's 0-2 and he drops back.
They squared around as if to bunt the first time. And took the pitch for some reason. And that time didn't show bunt at all.
0-2.
Quick pitch to
little things. Nobody out, runner at second. Find a way to get him on, get him over, and the Reds don't advance the runner here.
We've talked about those things all year long, George. Every team has those issues. But when you get into championship baseball, when every single game matters, if you can't get that done, you're going to lose ball games.
If you're looking at one Achilles heel for the Reds this year offensively, it's that inability to get a bunt down or even move a runner over. Just a productive out. Even a ground ball to the right side gets the runner over if you don't get the sacrifice down. And you're right. You get to October, you're not in 9-4 games. You're in 2-1, 3-2 ball games.
You got it.
Here's Brandon. He has delivered with runners in scoring position. Over 300 this year. Fly to center first time up. Hit it to the warning track in left center. Just missed it. Hit it off the end of the bat. And Samardzija's ahead again, 0-2.
You could see Samardzija varying his times to the plate, even with a runner at second base. And it's showing some surprise on both Heisey with that quick pitch breaking ball, and now there to Phillips. Either he'll bring that knee up high or he'll use a slide step. And as a hitter, you got to be ready for either one.
In the air center field. Cozart's going to tag. He's coming on to third, and he will get there. So Phillips gets the runner advance, but it is now with 2 outs.
That's why you move the runner from second to third, because in that situation, if Cozart is standing at third base after the at-bat of Chris Heisey, it is now 3-2 rather than 2-2.
Yep, little things. So we'll see if Bruce can pick him up.
You have the lead. The team relaxes a little bit. You don't have to press so much at the plate. You give Johnny Cueto a little bit of breathing room so one pitch doesn't lose him the ball game. It's as much mental as it is physical.
Samardzija will work from the stretch with 2 outs and the runner at third. He struck out Bruce first time up.
Nice pick.
Boy, Castillo just saved a run right there. He was setting up down and away and just did get the glove over there.
Well, he had no choice but to glove that ball. Normally, you should slide your body and block the ball. On that pitch, you have no choice but to stab at it and hope you can come up with it in the web.
That's a ground ball to Barney, and that'll take care of the Reds. So they get one on the double, a leadoff double, but a strikeout by Heisey and the fly ball. Then Bruce retired. We're still in a 2-2 game. To the 26 at Great American Ballpark, presented by Kroger. Friday and Saturday, all fans in attendance will receive a Barry Larkin commemorative print thanks to Cincinnati Bell and the Inquirer. Plus, don't miss a Barry Blast post-game fireworks show Friday night and a special pregame Barry Larkin jersey retirement on Saturday. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or reds.com. First of two, second game, a night game tonight in this doubleheader. That game is now a sellout. There are some standing room tickets available, and the same story for tomorrow afternoon's game here at Great American Ballpark. Well, here's the culprit. Alfonso Soriano's homer after De Jesus was hit by a pitch in the first. Gave the Cubs a 2-0 lead. For Alfonso, his 1,000th run batted in of his career. Over Cueto's head. Brandon has it. Soriano's retired,
went away with the first pitch fastball, and it came right in on his knuckles with the next one. That'll keep Soriano, or at least Cueto is trying to keep Soriano from leaning out over that dish.
Johnny's trying to win his 16th, and the last Red to win 16 games out of his first 25 starts. You got to go back to a guy who should have won the Cy Young Award in 1988, Danny Jackson. What a brilliant year he had. He had a Cy Young kind of year and was instrumental in being the focal point of the Reds rotation that year. And that was the year that Orel had the consecutive scoreless inning streak, and you knew he was going to win the Cy that year. Not to take anything away from Hershiser, he was brilliant that year.
Yes, he was.
Man. Wins leaders this year: AJ 15, Dickey 15, and Gio Gonzalez 15, along with Johnny. Left field, going back at the warning track. Paul, he'll haul it in. Two away. Here's Castillo. Join us tomorrow for pregame at Reds Live Set, and guess what? You can pick up a set of sunglasses. Sunglass Sundays. 100 people receive free sunglasses courtesy of Fox Sports Ohio and the Ohio Department of Public Safety, reminding you to drive sober or get pulled over. Jim Day and Jeff Pecoro wearing their shades on this day. They'll be with us for Reds Live postgame. Down and away for a ball to Castillo, who struck out first time up. Well, what Jeff Samardzija is trying to do is what Johnny Cueto has learned to do. When you first watched Cueto come on the scene, hard, hard, hard. And now he still has great movement and good velocity, and he can do that in on your knuckles or any other way. But he's learned how to pitch, not throw.
Well, the toughest thing for a young pitcher to do is you see this hard running sinker inside on Castillo, and he hits it right on the label of that Louisville slugger. But the toughest thing to do is just learn to pitch, and the only way you can do that is back off a little bit and change speeds. You come to the big leagues, the only thing that you know, George, is strikeouts mean that you're good, and that makes it very difficult to try to teach someone to back off a little bit and just get the first pitch out. That's tough.
Johnny's learned that. No longer going for strikeouts, he's going for outs.
And Mario Soto has been as instrumental as Brian Price has been in that process of learning how to do that.
You can talk all you want, but you have to learn it for yourself.
Yeah,
Mario
you really
tried to
do.
preach that to him in the minor leagues. He had to go through the process.
Yeah,
before
everybody
he finally
does.
got it.
Everybody does.
Got him. 1, 2, 3. Second straight 1, 2, 3 for Cueto. Johnny deals it. 3 strikeouts for Cueto. We're tied at 2.
pregame, 30 minutes before every Reds broadcast here on Fox Sports Ohio. In-depth features. You'll see the lineups before anyone else and more. It's Reds Live. It's presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Jim Day with you just beside the Reds dugout, and it's been a tough season for the Chicago Cubs, no doubt about it, but I never thought I'd see a Groupon from the Cubs. Now, you guys tell me upstairs if this is worth it. You get to throw out the first pitch at a Cubs game on August 30th. The experience does include a personal suite for you and 13 friends and a tour of Wrigley Field and memorabilia at a price of $30,000. That's Jeff Brantley money right there, George.
30 grand.
$30,000.
That's chump change for you, huh?
You gotta be kidding me.
Hey, you talk about opportunities, JD, and I think we all saw it yesterday and we felt it last night. It's still down in that clubhouse today. Watching Teddy Kramer last night was so special in the Reds dugout, and talking to the Reds players after the game. Here's the 1-1 to Frazier. And Frazier, Todd was at the top of that list, giving Teddy the hugs, the Down syndrome young man who was our honorary bat boy last evening. It was so great to see the way he was accepted. After the game, he came up to Rick Stowe. He said, "Mr. Stowe, this is the greatest day of my life."
That's what he kept repeating down here too, George. He kept saying, "This is great. This is great, Jim. This is so great." And he just instilled enthusiasm into this dugout. And as you said last night, some of these players go through the motions. We've seen it. Oh, there's a deep one, George.
Frazier deep. Going back. Gonna be gone. Well, on cue, he gave Teddy Kramer a big hug last night. He gives these Reds fans a big hug today, and now the Reds have a lead. How'd that look from down here, JD?
It looked real good. That's why I sent it back to you, because off the bat it was a no-doubter right there.
They keep trying to pound him inside, and he keeps hitting them in the seats. Oh. Actually, I think Castillo wanted that away. It just ended up inside.
So, JD, how did it sound right behind home plate for you down there?
Well, you can tell some balls that just aren't going to go out. Just, I can't even describe the sound. It's kind of just an offset sound, but this one was just, yeah, like you said, just solid wood contact. And you could actually close your eyes at a major league game sometimes and just hear the ball come off the bat and say, yeah, that's hit very well.
And Todd was at the top of the list last night giving hugs to Teddy Kramer. You were there last night, looked in that dugout. And, I mean, there are times where you'll have special moments, but almost everybody from one end of the dugout to the other was enjoying having Teddy down there.
They really were, George, and they kept actually were fighting for time with Teddy. That's how popular he was. They're like, "Hey, Teddy, come over here and sit over here. Teddy, come over here and do this." And he would give them the knuckles, each guy, before they came up to bat. And it was terrific. I've never seen anyone more happy to be in a major league dugout, and the players enjoyed it as well. I'd like to see him back. They should have him back.
I think Rick Stowe told him, you know, thanks. You know, he told Rick, he said, "Thanks, this is the greatest day of my life." And Rick told him, "What do you mean? You gave us some energy tonight." Yeah. And Drew Stubbs said it about as well as anybody. He said, "Wow, so that young man's never had a bad day, has he?"
Really,
it's a great way to look at life.
And he was a hustler, George.
Yeah.
I mean, he was doing his job and doing it hard. He wasn't down there just to shake some hands. He was the bat boy, and he was hustling.
Congratulations to the Reds for bringing him in. Teddy, it was great to have you, and thanks for the good vibes you brought to us last night. Great job, JD. Thanks.
You got it, George.
I wish you just would have called the home run, for crying out loud.
I almost went into your call.
Should have.
George, there's a long one. It's going to be gone.
We'll get you back up here.
All right.
You got your sunglasses tomorrow?
Not yet, but it is Sunglass Sunday. The Ohio Department of Public Safety provides those around the set. So come on early, whoever's coming to the game tomorrow. Get some sunglasses.
You take care of Amy Bailey down there in the camera bag. There's another shot. Miggy, does he have his first? He does. Miguel Cairo, second homer of the inning. Xavier Paul has hit his first homer of the year. Cairo's hit his as well. Cowboy, nice.
The ball to Frazier was middle in. This ball as well. Middle in. And it appears as though these are supposed to be breaking balls that are not breaking. The ball that Frazier hit was a hanging breaking ball. The ball that Cairo hits is a hanging breaking ball. And they come out of there like rockets. Tell you what, you learn quick in this ballpark that a mistake may cost you a run. More times than not. Especially if it's up.
Not much margin for error.
No.
Miguel Cairo's first homer, 10th run batted in. 4-2 Reds.
You make a mistake down, line drive, hard ground ball, somebody's got a chance to catch it. You make a mistake up, somebody's going to catch it all right. After about the third bounce off the third seat.
Here's Hannigan, bounced out first time up. Swing and a miss, got him. Second out of the inning, and here comes Cueto. Four strikeouts for big number 29.
You know, George, you were talking about Teddy being down in the dugout last night, and you know, sometimes as a player, even during a ball game, you realize that there are other things in life that are just a little bit more important.
That's a lesson we can learn every day. Just look around us. And Teddy reminded us of that last night. He thanked us, but more importantly, we thank him. Special young man. Reds lead at 4-2. Fox Sports Ohio being brought to you by JTM Food Group, creating great dishes together with the food service industry for over 30 years. By your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. For over 30 Toyota offers available now, visit buyatoyota.com, including mobile. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Home run kind of day. If you joined us late, first inning for the Cubs, De Jesus hit by an 0-2 pitch, and then Alfonso Soriano homered his 22nd of the year, his 1,000th career run batted in. Cubs led 2-0. Reds returned the favor. Single by Frazier in the second. Homer by Xavier Paul, his first of the year. Were tied at 2. Then in the fourth, Todd Frazier again, 2 for 2, led off with a homer, 3-2 Reds, and then Miguel Cairo homers, 4-2 Cincinnati. There's Brett Jackson, bounced out first time up.
Just by watching Cueto, he's really only made one mistake all day long. Even the ball that was up and into De Jesus, I don't count that as a mistake. The ball that he left out over the plate for Soriano that he hit out, that's the only mistake, the only pitch that I've seen today that he would take back.
Hey, Reds fans, August is National Sandwich Month, so celebrate it with JTM's quick and delicious meatball sub kits. Pick up a bag today, JTM. There's Darwin Barney. Reached on a squib base hit down the third baseline first time up. Samardzija due up next.
And a very funny spinning ball at that.
There's another funky one. Cozart handles this one though, and it's 2 away.
When Cueto's getting this many ground balls in this kind of fashion, he's got good movement on the fastball. The breaking ball has got downward bite, but more than anything else, everything is down. And you can see that ball there, just the slightest bit of sink right there at the end, and you get a ground ball.
10 straight retired by Cueto. Samardzija retired. 1, 2, 3. The last 3 innings clean. Top of the order, Cozart due up. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Reds out-of-market game live online and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Visit Reds.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. Fox Sports Ohio has brought you the Reds for years. Now it's time for us to bring you to the Reds. For more information on how you and your group can get to the Fox Sports Ohio Fan Express to Reds Country, call 513-765-7600 or visit Reds.com/Fan Express. One of those days, this will be the third at bat, and the third time Cozart will lead off an inning. He struck out in the first, led off with a double in the third, but the Reds couldn't advance him with 2 outs, and finally he was left stranded. And here we are leading off in the 5th. Zach's double is 30th of the year. And there's been a lot of talk of late of who's a Rookie of the Year candidate, Cozart, Frazier, and there's some great rookies this year. Who's an MVP, who's a Cy Young candidate. Realistically, Cowboy, those awards will be decided in the next 6 weeks. It's not the first 4 months of the season. It's the last month and a half.
You got that right.
Hit hard. Great snare by Castro, and he'll get him. Nice play by Starlin Castro.
Nice play and a very strong throw from one shortstop to another. And they both have cannons, Cozart and Castro. God, he was not even on the bag when he caught that ball.
Here's Heisey, hit by a pitch in the first, left stranded. In the second, after Cozart doubled, unable to advance the runner to second, wound up striking out. Here's another look. Take a look down at first.
He's not even on the bag. He did a great job of acting and pulling off the decoy. But David Rackley, the rookie umpire, got fooled there.
With the doubleheader today, there is a replacement umpire here at the ballpark today. Mike Everett will join this crew for the second game. Paul Schreiber will umpire behind the plate, and he'll get the second game off. And Mike Everett will join this crew.
And Everett is the crew chief.
Yep. Breaking ball down and away, 1-2. Four runs, 5 hits for the Reds, 2 runs, 2 hits for the Cubs. Slap to the right side and out of play.
Yeah, very rarely do you see Zach Cozart turn the way that he did at any point in time when he's dead out. That's what made me think that he came off the bag, and he sure did. Pretty good job of acting over there by the young Anthony Rizzo.
Billy Hatcher started to walk towards Rackley, said a few words, and ended the conversation.
.95 miles an hour right on the hands of Heisey.
Ripped to right, base hit. 1 out, 1 on, and let's see what Dusty does now with the speedy Heisey down at first and Phillips at the plate.
And you see what's going on now with Samardzija. After hanging those 2 breaking balls, he's pitching hard in and then trying to get the out pitch on the sinker down and away. That last pitch was 97 miles an hour. But Heisey just fouled off all the difficult pitches until he got one out over the plate, and he just blisters it through the right side. Even if you hang a couple of them, you can't abandon it. You still got to use it.
Heisey's going, hit and run, fouled off by Phillips.
Did you know the signs? You just said they were going to do something special here, and they did right off the bat. They were hitting and running.
You know, I think the one thing that Dusty did in 2010, which he's not done often, because, I mean, his years in Chicago and San Francisco, he had home run ball clubs, big ball clubs. That was the most aggressive year as a manager that I ever saw him have.
I totally agree. This club was setting records going from first to third on singles.
And once Votto went down, he started doing that again this month.
And the winds began to pile up.
And Dale Swaim's going through the same thing. Remember when Dale took over and they fired Ned Yost in Milwaukee? He took over for the final month of the season, and I mean, they had injuries. Their offense went in the tank. He said, all I can do is try to get him to think offensively. And he was hit and running. Even last night, he
moving.
He hit and run with the pitcher. And he said, you know, I've told Travis, be ready.
Yeah.
And he did. And that's what he's trying to instill in a young Cubs club, that same kind of aggressiveness. I mean,
part of that, too, George, when you hit and run as a hitter, and you know this, it makes you concentrate more on bat on baseball versus just taking some big, huge swing. You get short and you get quick in a hurry.
Almost hit him. Hey, the Central Division, you know, Clint Hurdle's done a remarkable job in Pittsburgh, and you saw him reinvent the way they looked at playing the game, both on the field and off. Mike Matheny took over for a legend in St. Louis. He's doing the same thing. Dale's doing the same thing in Chicago. Aggressive managers who really know how to run a game. And Dusty, of course, I mean, who knows who's going to win Manager of the Year. But for what he's done after losing his closer and everything that happened at the start of the year, and then losing his best player.
And Joey Votto.
It's a tough job, man. Managing games, running games, dealing with your organization, managing the media. Here's the 3-1 they'll toss over again. And realistically, most managers will probably say that the game itself is the easiest part. It's probably 20 to 25% of what you do. It's everything else.
I think the toughest part is trying to mesh 25 different personalities.
3-1. On the corner, 3-2. Hey, you know, when everybody left the ballpark last night, the park was empty. The coaches, the manager, the coaches, they were locked in a room last night. They met for over 2 hours after the game. The Reds coaches. Before the day started today, Dale Swaim, before anybody else was in the locker room, he was sitting with Travis Wood talking about last night's start and what he has to do to be better.
And that's the thing that, to me, if you don't do that, if you're not still learning at this level, then you're going to get stale and somebody's going to take your job. You got to continue to learn and get better.
Slow dribbler to short with the runner going. They won't get two. They will get the out at first. So the Reds get a runner to second.
Well, Phillips
see how that one.
Phillips not happy at all about the way this Mazda pitch by pitch went. First pitch breaking ball, fouls it off. Another breaking ball outside. This pitch almost hits him inside. That's the breaking ball down and away. Now that's the pitch that got him. It's a breaking ball off the plate away, and you could hear Brandon there voicing his displeasure. You can see Phillips slam the bat down. And that has more to do with having to swing at a pitch that you know is a ball, and you got to swing at it anyway or you're going to get rung up.
Wild pitch, runner advances to third, 2 away. Jay swings and misses. And the Cubs have pretty much pitched Brandon that same way the last 2 weeks, showing something inside, try to get him out away. When he's on his game, that pitch usually delivered to right and right center. 1-2.
Well, you know, every batter that hits in that 3, 4, 5 slot, you see a runner at second base, you want to be the one that drives him home. That's what you get paid to do.
Well, a perfect approach by Samardzija that time. He gets Bruce for the second time. Jays 0 for 3. Reds lead at 4-2 heading to the 6th. Kind of day. Alfonso Soriano delivers a 2-run homer in the first, his 1,000th run batted in of his career, 22 homers, 2-0 Cubs lead it off Johnny Cueto. Cueto then has really been dealing. He's retired 11 straight, and the Reds have added some offense. Home run baseball, Xavier Paul is first of the year, ties it at 2 in the second. Todd Frazier gives the Reds a 3-2 lead with a leadoff homer in the fourth, his 16th, and Miguel Cairo gets his first of the year. That gave the Reds a 4-2 lead in the fourth, and that's where we are. 4 runs, 6 hits for the Reds, 2 runs, 2 hits for Chicago, in addition to that home run by Soriano in the first, a dribble base hit by Darwin Barney. Those are the only hits on the board for the Cubs thus far. And here's De Jesus to lead it off. Just like Cozart, 3 at bats, all 3 leading off an inning for this leadoff hitter. Pirates and the Cardinals getting ready to get underway about an hour from now. Last night Pittsburgh held on for a 2-1 lead, so the Pirates remain 6 games back of the Reds and the Cardinals 8 games back. And everything else in the National League later on. American League, Texas leads Toronto 2-1 in the 6th. Everything else in the American League later on. Giddy up on that one, huh?
He sinks it down, and just as a hitter, just as you start to look down in the zone, the old high hard one. And the moment you start those hands and you drop them to hit that pitch down in the zone, you got no chance on the high one.
There's the youngster Josh Bitters, 0 for 2. Great to make it to the major leagues, get your first taste, but Bitters and Jackson have faced some pretty tough pitching the last couple of weeks coming up.
Yeah, they're facing the Reds. It's no easy task, I don't think, on anybody facing Johnny Cueto on a day when he's on. And as you can see of the swings by some of the Cubs batters, Cueto is on his game today. We said earlier, he's only made one mistake, and Alfonso Soriano made him pay for that one.
Now you said it, Cowboy, even before that home run, the first couple of deliveries from Cueto, you said he's on his game today.
was. He just let that ball run back over the plate.
Today's broadcast is on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the United States Armed Forces, serving in 175 countries and abroad, ships at sea. They're watching around the world: Iraq, Germany, Italy, Southwest Asia, South Korea, Japan. Everyone, welcome. Thanks for all you do to keep us free and for the great blessings you give us each day. Hope you enjoy today's game.
Amen on that.
And hope you're back at the ballpark soon here. There's Anthony Rizzo, struck out, grounded out. When you bring up young players, you look for not the obvious, the tools. You look for, can they be leaders? And talking to Dale Swain and even Chris Bosio, the pitching coach, they say this guy has the potential to be our leader. Not just his athletic ability, but the way he conducts himself. The season started, and even in spring training, a guy who came up in the Red Sox organization, went to San Diego, and reacquired by Theo Epstein here, said he wanted to be in the pitchers' meetings to see how we were going to pitch and how we wanted him to defense. Not many guys will do that.
And you're talking about Anthony Rizzo.
Yep. Has a presence about him, and he's learned a lot from his struggles in San Diego. His swing is much shorter than it was a year ago.
Yes.
You can notice that right off the bat.
Right off the bat. He does not have a hit today, but he's given Cueto a couple of tough at bats. See, that's not what Johnny wants him to do with that pitch. Johnny wants him to pull that ball.
Yep. Which is what he tried to do a year ago.
Right. And if you pull it, then he's going to throw it in the changeup. Well, as long as you keep hitting it the other way, I'm not throwing you a changeup. And neither is Cueto.
Full count, 3-2.
Tic-tac-toe.
4, 5, 6. 6 strikeouts for Cueto. number 9 takes us back to 1991. You know what he became, the first 30-30 shortstop. Even before that, he became a unique offensive player. 5 home runs over 2 consecutive games. And you know who's on the mound there, Cowboy? I just realized it now. 5 home runs, 2 games, and he drills 3 of them right here. Who is it?
Jim Deshane.
JD, the other JD. He said, what else can I do? You have to show this to JD when you play him next time. 3 home runs in a game, first to do it since Eric Davis back in that year. Of course, Barry Larkin weekend, August the 24th through the 26th.
George, when you give him up like that, you don't have to show it to him. He's got it on memory. Jeff Beliveau, new pitcher for the Cubbies, left-hander. Youngster coming on, 1.93 earned run average, just came up from Iowa on July 22nd. Made his major league debut that day.
25 years of age. Native of Rhode Island, the Ocean State. Attended Florida Atlantic University. And sounds like we should be playing the Chicago Blackhawks.
Beliveau.
Drop the puck, eh?
Oui, oui.
Here's Todd Frazier. Single to center, scored on the homer by Xavier Paul in the second, and led off the fourth with a homer that gave the Reds their first lead at 3-2. Beliveau working from the stretch. Here's the 1-1.
And you may ask yourself, well, it's only 4-2. Why did they take Samardzija out of the game? Well, Samardzija has spent the entire part of his beginning career in the bullpen, and he is approaching some dangerous innings here as far as where he is season-wise. And there was talk earlier about shutting him down.
You know, in this year where we talk about Steven Strasburg and everybody else, you know, you have to keep in mind what Jeff Samardzija has gone through. Last 2 years, he had 75 and 75 games out of the bullpen.
Right.
Which is completely different than going through this kind of a grind.
Yes.
Pop to the right side. Drifting, it will be. Did he hold on? No. Well, De Jesus made a great catch in that same spot yesterday, but couldn't come up with this one. He's solid in all 3 outfield spots.
Boy, you think when you make a effort like that and a heck of a slide right into the wall there that you come up with it. But when he raised the glove up, the ball's on the ground. Looked like he caught the ball and it fell out as he was raising his glove. Kind of a hang with him.
One ball, 2 strikes to Frazier. Off the hands. You know, and there is a difference between a young pitcher who comes up from the minor leagues, who's been a starter, and you monitor his innings.
Right.
In Samardzija's case, his preparation is completely different from where he's been the last couple of years. You were there. You were a setup guy, a closer. You volunteered to be a starter for the Giants and went in the same year from the bullpen to the starting rotation. That might have been your biggest challenge.
There's no doubt about it. I tip my cap to anybody that can go out there and pitch 9 innings.
And what did you won? Well, it's 5 or 6 in a row. I remember your first stretch as a starter.
As a starter.
Popped up. Rizzo calling. 1 away. Frazier's retired.
I'd much rather pitch 7 days in a row out of the bullpen.
Come for the Reds, stay for more fun. Visit the new Cat Canyon exhibit at Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden. Make it a weekend getaway. Book your stay at CincinnatiUSA.com. And I mean, Cabo, you know him well. I think one of the strengths of the Reds while you were here, we had a great transition. I mean, you had Jeff Brantley, Jeff Shaw, Danny Graves, go down the list, you know, Scott Sullivan, even before that, Johnny Franco and the Nasty Boys before that, a bunch of bullpen guys and closers who helped the next guy coming along get better, be better, and anchor the bullpen. You had a great relationship with each other. And
well, there was just a lot of expectation. It really began with John Franco and then was exacerbated to a tremendous extent when the 1990 team and the Nasty Boys won the World Series and just blew everybody away. And by the time that I got here, it was an expectation that you wanted this bullpen to be a rock, and you had to work at it. It's no easy task.
Having said that, watching Danny Graves, I mean, his career may have been ruined by the fact that they tried to make a starter out of a guy who was a closer.
Exactly.
2-0. A sinker ball pitcher.
Right. And just because you have a few bad games as a closer or a bad year as a closer doesn't mean that you just give it up and say, okay, well, I'm going to start now. Or the team, for that matter. Sometimes you just have a bad year.
3 balls, 1 strike to Xavier. He ripped his first home run as a Red to tie the game at 2. A 2-run shot in the second. Popped out to Rizzo in the 4th. That's a strike. What was more taxing for you, preparing as a starter or the day-to-day grind of the bullpen?
Oh, starter without a doubt. No, there's not even a question mark there. Trying to get ready and to prepare yourself physically to pitch 7+ innings and having to wait 4 days before you get to go do your job. They can have that. That's why I said I tip my hat to those guys.
Billy Hatcher, the Reds' first base coach, trying to give Xavier an idea of this young left-hander and his move. And here's Cairo. Cairo popped to short and drilled his first homer of the year. That gave the Reds a 4-2 lead. That came in the 4th.
You know, and George, on the flip side of that, there are guys that don't want any part of that bullpen either. They would much rather be able to start and have their 4 days in between the time that they go back out there so that they can prepare, get their body back ready to go. I guess it just depends on the individual.
Beliveau to the stretch. And there are probably the two most difficult moments for baseball players, for pitchers especially, would be trying to close out a game as a starter in the 9th inning and trying to close out a game as a closer in the 9th inning. Right. You know, how many people have we said they've got closer stuff but they never become closers?
Right.
The 9th inning is different.
It is. It always is, because it's the end of the game and everybody in the ballpark and everybody in each dugout knows it. You're going to change your swing. You're going to change your approach. One swing can make the difference in the game. And I think the 5th inning for a starter is a very difficult inning, especially when your team has the lead and you know it. It adds an additional amount of pressure that is from the neck up. It's really not there. It's artificial, but it's there. You take it on yourself trying to push to get through one more inning, knowing that if you do, you got a chance for a win.
2 balls, 1 strike to Cairo. Big hole on the right side with Barney step and a half towards the bag. Double play depth. Cairo trying to go that way, fouled off, and it's 2-2. Who gave you the best advice as a closer?
Gossage. Probably more than anybody else. Gossage and Righetti. I had a chance to play with both of them, but I think Goose probably as much as anyone, because I had watched Goose as a kid coming up and then got a chance to play with him in San Francisco at the end of his career. And you know, his and you hear this a lot, but it really meant much more to me coming from him. He said, you know, you're going to get saves and you're going to have bad days where you don't save the game. But don't let anybody know, by the way your face looks when you leave the ballpark, whether you saved it or whether you didn't.
Runner going, slice to right. De Jesus on his horse. He'll haul it in the corner. The throw coming back to first, but Paul will get there. He was all the way to the bag at second and measured it, got back well in time, and there's your second out of the inning.
Saw a very similar play to that in Chicago, where Brandon Phillips and Zach Cozart did the double play decoy, and they had Starlin Castro spinning his circles. And he stopped at second. Brandon Phillips was laughing at him. He took off for third, and Jay Bruce threw him out from here to next week.
There's Hannigan. Runner still anchored at first now with 2 away. And who gave you the best advice as you were transitioning from the bullpen to start in San Francisco?
Probably Mike Krukow. I learned more about pitching from Mike than anybody else. Just about changing speeds and moving the ball around the plate, reading hitter swings, eye contact versus a guy that won't make eye contact with you, where they hold their hands and how to read that, and what kind of pitch you're going to make from one to the next, thinking one pitch ahead. And you know, going into that starting situation after only really pitching 2 innings, maybe 3 at a time at the most, and he said, look, you go out there, you go as hard as you can for as long as you can, and don't try to go 7 innings on your first day, because it's not going to happen. You go 4 or 5 at best, and they'll get you out of there.
Three balls, no strikes to Hannigan. You know, everyone talks, they like to talk about, you know, a manager running a team. And managers certainly do have a big imprint on a ball club, but basically players run ball clubs. The good teams are run by players, and pitching staffs are run by the veteran pitchers.
Veterans.
Can't do it by yourself if you don't have leaders on the field. For the Reds, it meant, you know, bringing Walt Jocketty brought a Scott Rowland here.
Right.
Dale Swaim's looking to do the same thing with the new club that he's building in Chicago.
You've got to bring in a veteran player that fits the style of play, that fits the talent that you have on your team.
That's ball 4. So runners at first and second, and that'll bring up Cueto with 2 away. I remember asking Bud Black once, and he came up in the Kansas City organization. He's a pitcher. He was a good pitcher for Kansas City during the 80s. He said, who did you learn the most about pitching from? And he said, George Brett and Hal McRae, because he sat with them all the time when they were watching other pitchers and other hitters. You know, you're talking about 2 Hall of Fame caliber players there.
Right. I can assure you that I learned a lot from Hal McRae about the same things that we were talking about earlier about reading swings. There's a ball.
That's a ball.
Bolivar.
So now the runner's in scoring position for Cueto.
Stepping on the mound. And you start to go. And you step back. You can't do that. Got a little flustered. You look into the catcher and you're looking for a sign, and he gives you one, and you start thinking that's the only sign he's going to give you, and then he gives you two more. You forget the guys at second base. You stop in the middle of it. That's a ball.
Strike one to Cueto. Johnny, a couple of runs batted in on the season to this point. Trying to give himself a little bit of a pad here with a base hit that could play two. On the corner, 1-2.
It's about as frustrating as it gets after you've already walked two guys in an inning. You're trying to get it together. You're a young pitcher. You're trying to figure it out in the big leagues. You want to get to one pitch so you can get out of the inning, and you end up balking. I think he thought he had strike three there.
2-2. Righted Barney, hit it right on the button, but at the young second baseman. So the Reds get a couple of walks. No extra runs here. Soriano will lead it off. Cincinnati's favorites at Great American Ballpark, Penn Station East Coast Subs. Find a Penn Station location near sections 130 and 414 and enjoy all the baseball action while eating a Penn Station signature sub and authentic fresh cut fries. To see your Reds at Great American Ballpark, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or Reds.com. Time for our AT&T trivia question for this afternoon. Name the last team in Major League Baseball to use only 5 starters for a full season. 121 and counting for the Reds as Johnny Cueto pitches today. That will end after this game, Cowboy. And it's been a streak that has certainly been impressive in this day and age.
And it's kind of crazy that it ends simply because of a weather-related issue. It has nothing to do with performance or injury or anything else. It's just got to play a doubleheader, and it's the way you got to do it.
Oh, we'll end at 120. 121 would have been the second game. Cueto, Arroyo, Bailey, Latos, and Leak have started every game for the Reds. In this second game tonight, Todd Redmond will make his major league debut.
Finally.
He's been around a lot. Finally get to pitch. Here's Soriano. Alfonso homered in the first. He drilled one to the upper deck and left. His 22nd homer, 73 runs batted in, and the 2 runs batted in gave the Cubs a 2-0 lead, and also gave him 1,000 runs batted in for his career. 1 more year left on his long-term deal. Next year, $17 million. The Cubs did entertain offers. He was not traded prior to the trading deadline, and it appears that he will be here next year as well. I asked Dale Swaim about him. He said, look, he has been as good as I could have expected. He has been into our program. He's worked very hard with Dave McKay. He's probably had his best defensive year. He hasn't made an error. Of course, he didn't make an error last year. He didn't get to many balls, but he's cut off more balls this year. McKay's worked with him a lot. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That's wide. Said he's done everything we've asked him to do. He's tried to help some of our young players. And realistically, if you take 21 homers and 22 homers now and 73 runs batted in out of this lineup, there's no offense. 7 strikeouts for Cueto.
Another slider down and away. And if you're Alfonso Soriano, what you're looking for there is that fastball to run back to the plate as you did in the first inning, and instead it just keeps going away from you.
That's probably the pitch Johnny wished he had thrown to him in the first inning.
You got that right.
Here's Starlin Castro. Broken bat, dodging the bat, getting the ball is Frazier. Nice play.
He had his right eyeball on the flying bat, his left eyeball on the baseball. Is that physically possible?
No, but he did it.
I didn't think so. I mean, there are still slivers of bat out on the field that Frazier was putting into his pocket.
Johnny has been good all season long. You know his record in day games. He's won 10 games. His ERA has been miraculous in day games, but he's been even better than that today. 1 bad pitch the afternoon. Here's Castillo, struck out twice.
It is pretty remarkable to watch Cueto and his craft, especially with that big spin and then the drive to the plate. I mean, here we are in the 7th inning, and he puts a 2-0 breaking ball right on the money. Check those out.
Looping line drive to center field. That'll drop for a hit. Wellington Castillo has his first hit. Only the 3rd hit by the Cubs this afternoon. And that'll bring up Brett Jackson.
20 starts, 3 earned runs or less.
Amazing.
I think that would qualify as a #1.
I'll give you a chance to look at that again just to digest it. 12 starts, he allowed 0 or 1 earned run.
And middle one looks pretty good too.
2 or less in 16 starts, and 3 or less in 20 starts. believers in the quote-unquote concept of a quality start.
Yeah.
But those are quality starts.
16 starts with 2 earned runs or less. That's getting it on.
Fastball on the corner, 1-1. Jackson bounced out twice, once to the second baseman, once to the first baseman.
The reason I was saying is it's amazing watching Johnny as he goes through the ball game and how he approaches different situations. There's nobody on base. He just kind of puts the ball where he wants to put it, keeps it down, tries to keep it in the park. Somebody gets on base, he's going to put you away more times than not.
Cubs get their third hit, but Cueto's cruising, leading 4-2 to the bottom of the 7th. Register today for the Reds Fantasy Camp, January 20th through the 27th at the Reds Spring Training Facility in Goodyear, Arizona. Take the field in your very own Cincinnati Reds uniform with your name and number on the back. Plus receive coaching and instruction from Reds legends and more. For information, visit reds.com/fantasycamp.
Number 60, the right-hander Manny Corpus, 3.68 earned run average. He will come on and be the next pitcher for Del Swain and the Chicago Cubs. Right-hander Corpus, formerly of the Colorado Rockies, will be making his 31st appearance. A 3.68 ERA.
4 runs, 6 hits for the Reds. No errors, they've left 5. For the Cubs, 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 error, they have left 2. So Marja went the first 5. Beliveau pitched the 6th, and here's Corpus in the 7th. And for the 4th time in 4 at bats, Cozart leads it off. The leadoff hitter for the Reds here in the 7th. When the Cubs came to town yesterday, there were some rumors kicking around that the negotiations between the Cubs and outstanding young shortstop Starlin Castro were close to fruition on a long-term deal. There was a story yesterday coming out of Chicago, and there's another one today that he is close, and now there's some reports saying he has inked the contract, a 7-year, $60 million extension. He's a good young player, and under the tutelage of a guy like Dale Swain, I think he's in the right place. There have been some brilliant moments for him, including his debut here, which was exceptional. A 200-hit season, and there have been some stumbles along the road. I think he's got a manager who will help him translate this transition to the major leagues in fine fashion.
I don't think there's any doubt about the fact that he can swing the bat, and he likes to swing the bat, and he likes to hit when it's crunch time. And you're not going to find a tremendous amount of people that can play middle infield and want to be in crunch time and are successful at it.
Here's Heisey, hit by a pitch, struck out, and single. Ozark strikeout. He struck out twice today, robbed of a hit on a nice play by Castro, and doubled back in the third. Swing and a miss. 0-2.
And I would imagine, George, as you probably would the same, that as time goes on, there's going to be a little more thought process for Starlin Castro that goes into his defensive prowess just as much as his offense as well. I mean, if he put as much effort into the defensive part of his game as he did into the offensive part, boy, you're talking about a heck of a player.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Now you build up the middle. We told you what Dale Swaim's evaluation of Wellington Castillo was behind the plate, but he's definitely got an outstanding double play combo. Barney and Castro at second and short. And if Jackson can be the player they think he can be, that's pretty solid up the middle.
No doubt.
2-2. This time in on the hands, a swing and a miss. 2 strikeouts for Corpus. 2 away, and here comes Brandon Phillips. AT&T trivia question answered. Named the last team in Major League Baseball to use only 5 starters for a full season. Go back to Brian Price's team, the Seattle Mariners. He was the pitching coach there in 2003. There's a link, huh?
There you go. I wonder if they had to play a doubleheader.
This is the first time the Reds and Cubs have played a doubleheader since 1999. And a memorable doubleheader, too, because the Reds were in first place. They lost 2 games to the Cubs in that pennant race year, and it was a rocky month of September, where we all remember the Reds went into the final series of the season in Milwaukee, where they needed 1 win of the 3 games to clinch the spot. There's a fly ball to right. Going back at the warning track is De Jesus, and he'll haul it in. As it was, the Reds needed a win on their final day just to tie the Mets. They lost the 1-game playoff to the Mets in '99. Reds lead at 4-2 heading to the 8th. highlight look at a highlight day. Weather perfect today, and so far Johnny Cueto's been not perfect but pretty close to it. The only blemish on his day thus far was a hit batter in the first inning on an 0-2 pitch. He hit De Jesus, and then a pitch that Alfonso Soriano caught big time a hold of for a 2-run homer in the first. Other than that, Cueto has been breezing along. The only other hits on the day, a dribbling infield hit in the second by Darwin Barney and a single to center by Castillo in the seventh.
Well, I would imagine with the score being 4-2, even as much as Cueto has cruised, that the ninth inning will belong to one Aroldis Chapman.
Drew Stubbs into the game in center for Heisey. He's inserted in the second spot in the lineup. So Paul, Stubbs, Bruce in the outfield, Frazier, Cozart, Phillips, Cairo in the infield, and Hannigan still catching Cueto. Darwin reached on that infield hit and then bounced to short. 1 for 2.
That's a pretty good changeup.
8 strikeouts.
That changeup goes back to what you were talking about earlier in the ball game with the Greg Maddux. It's not about the location of the changeup. It's about the arm speed. And you can see Darwin Barney swing right over the top of that. We showed you earlier with Wellington Castillo. Same type of pitch, same location, same result. The Exmo is a beautiful thing.
Here's Luis Valbueno, who will pinch hit in the 9th spot, the pitcher spot. Valbueno, big swing and fouled off. Luis had a whale of a night last night. A homer, his 4th of the year. That gave the Cubs an early 1-0 lead, and later a single and a double. He was 3 for 4. And played a pretty good third base last night as well. Just missing the outside corner.
It's a spot that Cueto has been able to catch, especially with the left-handers with that backdoor breaking ball. And as sharp as his has been today, it has been a tough one to catch.
3-1. Valbueno, Clevenger, Cardenas, LaHare, the left-handers on the bench. Loop into center. Here comes Stubbs. He gets there.
That's why they put him in the game.
Great break by Drew.
No substitute for speed.
Great first step. Last night Stubbs was charged with an error. Here's another look.
Ball's hit off the end of the bat, and you can see the break by Stubbs in the background and how quick he closes on that ball.
We asked him after the game about the error, the looping line drive that just ticked off the tip of his glove as he charged it last night. And we asked him, you know, was it the speed of the ball, the curve of the ball? He said no. And Cabo, you know it, being out there, that here usually most of the summer that sun comes over early in the game. There's a pop up and out of play, and it's left and left center can be very distracting to outfields. They have to battle it. Last night it wasn't a factor, with the exception of 1 or 2 moments where the reflection of the sun off the building, and he said it hit at that moment where he just lost the ball. He didn't see it at all for about 2 or 3 steps. And by the time he got to it, it ticked off the glove. I mean, Wrigley can be treacherous with the wind.
Yeah.
You saw it last week.
Oh, yeah.
This left and left center, when the sun's peeking over the top of the ballpark, left fielders will tell you is one of the more difficult left fields in baseball.
Well, what you have to do is you have to keep your eye on the batter and on the catcher, so when the ball comes out, you don't ever take your eye off of it. There are a lot of times I've seen outfielders being taught to turn and run to a spot. You can't do that in this outfield with the sunshine and the shade that has that big half moon between left and center field. You can't take your eye off the ball.
0-2. Well, when Johnny has missed today, he hasn't missed by much on any of those 2 strike pitches. And, you know, you go back to that first inning. He had 2 pitches that could have ended the inning before the home run by Soriano.
It could have gone either way. And the thing for Cueto is on the ball that he hit De Jesus with, that was barely, I mean, ever so slightly on the sleeve. Just enough for home plate umpire Paul Schreiber to hear it.
2-2.
He's been in, he's been out. Where will he go here? Will it be a changeup? Will it be another high fastball? Or will he go back to that backdoor breaking ball? He can go to any spot right here.
Fastball away. De Jesus just hangs in. We'll try it again. 2-2.
That was the old emergency swing. Just as the catcher begins to receive the ball, looks like he's going to close his glove, and there comes the bat to take it right out of the mitt. Didn't like the seams on that one. Got a little backdoor slider. Thinking like a pitcher, Jordan.
Amen.
He tried it. He
Perfect.
Did not get the result he wanted, but he tried it. Those are little things as a hitter. You see a pitcher look at a ball and he starts to feel around it and he doesn't like it and he throws it out. It's because he doesn't like the seams on the ball.
You're not going to throw your fastball.
No, it's not going to be a fastball.
Sky to the infield. Cueto looking for it, calling for it. Who will take charge? Cairo will. Johnny wasn't sure where it was. Hey, Johnny, be good on this day. 4-2 Reds. Breaks down the game with interviews from Dusty and the players. Reds Live brought to you by Kings Honda, Kings Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com. Jeff Picoro, Jim Day will be on the case. JD will be in the condominium. Pick will be down there trying to get the clubhouse story of this one. Right now, a smiling side of the scoreboard for the Reds. 4 runs, 6 hits, no errors for Cincinnati. They left 5 on. The Cubs 2 runs, 3 hits and an error. They've left 2 on base. The story of it, if you're just joining us, Cubs take a lead in the first. De Jesus hit by a pitch. Soriano hits a homer, his 22nd of the year, with his 1,000th run batted in of his career. 2-0 Cubs. Really the only major mistake that Cueto has made on this day. The Reds came back. Frazier a single. Xavier Paul, his first homer as a Red. 2-2 tie in the second. Then in the fourth, a leadoff homer by Todd Frazier made it 3-2 Cincinnati. Cairo's first homer of the year made it 4-2 Cincinnati in the fourth. Meanwhile, Cueto has been brilliant on this day.
Alberto Cabrera, the new right-handed pitcher for the Cubs. Pitched a scoreless 8th inning last night, striking out 2. He is wearing number 55, right-handed pitcher, just joined the Cubs on August 1st.
Jeff Samar just started for the Cubs. Bruce drills this to left. Soriano going back. He won't get near it. It'll be one hop off the wall. He may have a chance for 3. Rounding second is Bruce. Here comes the throw. It's not in time. A triple for Jay. His second triple of the season. Well, when he goes to left, it's magic, isn't it?
It's amazing the power that he possesses, especially with the ball out over the plate. Drops the head on it. That ball shot over Soriano like an opening day jet over the field. And you can see Jay pick it up about right there. He sees it go over the top. Now he knows the ball is rolling away, and he is kicking it into his final gear.
Cubs will be kicks away, going all the way to the backstop, but Bruce will hold.
And smartly so.
Yep. Now, in the old days, in the old ballparks, there was 70, 80 feet from home place to the backstop, but here it's only 40 some odd feet. All the ballparks are so small, unless it kicks to the side, you got a real chance of being nailed.
Well, the problem is when it goes straight back, there's also a brick wall back there. Even though it's padded, that pad kicks the ball back to you in a hurry.
Ball 1 to Frazier. 2 for 3, a homer and a single. This will get it done. Todd Frazier will pick up his 53rd run batted into the season with a sacrifice fly.
That's getting it done right there, boy.
Now the day started with the Reds struggling to move runners over, but here, get him on, and Frazier got him in. 3 hits again for Frazier. Another 2 for 4 night last night with a homer. 3 for 4 today, and the Reds put an important extra run on the board.
Nothing like those insurance runs at the end of the ball game.
Here's Xavier. 1 for 2 and a walk. That 1 came in the second inning with Frazier aboard. Our Nissan boom drive of the day. His first home run as a Red. 4th and 5th runs batted in, and he put a charge into that.
And he knew he got it too. 2-0 fastball, middle, kaboom.
1 ball, 1 strike. To Hopper to Rizzo. Cabrera there. First out of the inning, Paul retired. And here comes Cairo. Second out of the inning, rather. And here comes Cairo. Took him a while to get it, Cowboy, but home run number 1 came for him this afternoon.
Hanging breaking ball earlier in the at-bat against the right-hander Samardzija. And Samardzija really started out with a really good slider down and away and just got around one, left it up. Basically the same pitch that Todd Frazier hit out earlier.
Just like we promised you early in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. The number 43, he'll take it. Sneaks it in the left field corner. Home run number 1.
Call those cement mixers, because all they do is just spin.
They're okay if it's out of the strike zone.
Yeah.
It's in the strike zone.
It's all fine and good unless he can reach it with the good part of the bat.
You've seen Jeff Samardzija twice in the last couple of weeks. Cowboy, give us your report card on where he's come this year.
I think he's come a long way. I think he's at a point right now where he's feeling some fatigue, obviously. Not from the fastball standpoint, but I think just from feel of the baseball as he gets deeper into the game. I mean, we saw him first couple of innings. He seemed like he was all right, even though he did give up that home run to Xavier Paul. He was making some very good pitches. But that 4th inning, he kind of let it get away from him a little bit, and there were 2 breaking balls that he just left up. The game he pitched here earlier, he was nails. Everything was down, hard, and either sinking or sliding.
You followed him in his career through the minor leagues to the major leagues. Homer Bailey, would you say that same fatigue might be a factor in some of the mistake pitches that have come of late?
The only thing that I would say no with Homer Bailey is he's been in that category of 200 innings before, simply because he had a year where he had, I think, 130 innings right at that here in the big leagues, and he had 80 innings in the minor leagues. And you know, once you've crossed that 200 inning plateau, even though last year he didn't get anywhere near that, but once you've crossed it, you know how your body is going to react at that point. So, you know, I think it's more a difficult time for Homer in this ballpark than it is anything else going on. So when he pitches in the away park, I'll take him. He throws the ball awfully well. And I think when it comes down to big game time, I think he's going to be just fine.
Here's Hannigan, 0 for 2 and a walk. This game 1 of the 2 games today. Reds Live before the game tonight. It's not a straight doubleheader. It's a day-night doubleheader. Todd Redmond goes against Brooks Raley. Reds Live at 6:30. Game will follow at 7.
Going back to Homer Bailey, the best game that I saw him throw in this ballpark was on a Sunday night baseball game, and that was in front of a nationwide audience, worldwide audience for that matter, and it was a packed house here, and he was game on, and it was one of the best games I've seen him throw. But he was attacking the strike zone and pitching inside, throwing his breaking ball for strikes from the beginning of the ball game, and he was basically unhittable.
0-2.
Tomahawk.
And to left, that's a base hit. 3rd hit of the inning. 4th base runner for the Reds this inning. So Hannigan is on. And here comes Ludwig. That answers the question, will Cueto go for a complete game? With Cueto due up, Ryan Ludwig will come and pinch hit here in the 8th inning. So Johnny's day is done, and boy, was he good. And as you figured, Chapman is up. Johnny Cueto, 8 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, 8 strikeouts, no walks, 1 hit batter, 107 pitches for Cueto. Here's Ryan. Ludwig steps to the plate. Another one of those contributors from last night. Ludwig homered in the 4th inning when the Reds were trailing 3-1. He led off the 4th with a homer to get the Reds to within 1. Frazier followed after Bruce was hit by a pitch with his home run that gave the Reds a lead they would not relinquish at 4-3. And Bruce would homer later. Bouncer towards second. Barney has it. Reds will strand a pair. Cueto's job is done. Reds will try to wrap it up as we go to the 9th. Now leading 5-2. He's been at his best in the daytime, and on this day game, Johnny Cueto is something else, Cowboy.
And he used every pitch in the book from the beginning of the ball game on. He made one mistake. It was the home run to Alfonso, and after that, it was lockdown time as far as the hitters go for the Chicago Cubs. Sliders, curveballs, changeups, and with a win today, if the left-hander Chapman can hold it on, Johnny Cueto will be the first Reds pitcher in the National League to 16 wins since Jack Billingham in 1974.
That's amazing. Amazing. Pretty amazing day, pretty amazing season for Johnny B. Good. Cueto, 8 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, 8 strikeouts, no walks, a hit batter, 107 pitches. And he turns it over to the whip, Aroldis Chapman.
Now that doesn't mean that he's the first Reds pitcher to get 16 wins. Don't misunderstand me. He's the first to 16 in the National League since 1974 and Jack Billingham.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah. That means he leads the whole National League, for those that don't understand what I'm saying.
Good to see him next to Joey Votto, too. Here's Chapman. He'll face Josh Vitters in the number 2 spot, then Rizzo, and then Soriano. Aroldis came in last night in a non-save situation, got the final 3 outs in the 9th inning on 3 ground balls. Barney, Rizzo, and Soriano.
And he needed to pitch last night. He had not pitched in 5 consecutive days. Even with the doubleheader today, last night, he needed to be in that ball game.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Vitters.
What do you look for now if you're Vitters after that breaking ball? See, this is the part that makes Chapman so difficult to even make contact with, is you see 2 breaking balls at 91. If he throws that fastball here, yeah, threw him another breaking ball. And you have to look for the hardest pitch. So how are you going to hit that? I mean, this baby just dropped straight down.
Man, lethal.
Talking about some torque. Yow.
1 away. Only the second time this season that Chapman didn't strike out a batter in an inning of work last night. He gets one here today. Hit hard down to first. Cairo scoops it. And for the second straight game, Rizzo grounds out to first in facing Chapman. And here comes Soriano. Well, Soriano in Chicago struck out 3 straight times facing Chapman. He faced him for the 4th straight time and the 3rd time ending a game, and he grounded out last night, and here he is again. $28,754 for the first of this day-night doubleheader. Smiling scoreboard for the Reds, and Chapman trying to close it out. 2-0.
Breaking ball, he missed down and away. That was a fastball he held on to just a tad too long. Another breaking ball. Now, this is by far the most breaking balls we've seen him throw in any outing here in 2012. And that's not a bad thing.
No. That's a strike. 3-1. On their feet at Great American, 3-1 pitch. Off the glove of Frazier. That'll go as a base hit. Frazier thought he had it. It just skimmed off the tip of his mitt.
I think Frazier thought he had it as well.
So Soriano finally gets a hit off Chapman. Another look. And here comes Castro. Starlin 0 for 3. Bounced out, flied out, bounced out. Castro in his matchups with Chapman, 1 for 6.
Now when Chapman starts changing the eye level as he did there, even more tough to hit.
98. Way high, a ball and a strike.
Most hitters that are the better hitters can cheat a little bit, make contact with that ball that's down. That ball that's up, I don't know that you can get to that one.
2-1.
He was taking all the way there.
And another 3-ball count with Soriano over at first. And we'll go full 3-2. Soriano will be running with 2 away. Fans in red looking for the big guy to close it out. All four. Now it becomes intriguing. That'll bring up Wellington Castillo, single last time up, 1 for 3. Castillo facing Chapman for the first time.
Joe Mather looks as though he has moved out into the on-deck circle, right-handed hitter, former Cardinal.
The lone right-handed bat on the bench for Dale Swain. Cueto's done his job, hoping for Chapman to do his. That's a strike. 1-1.
Just a bit inside. Not Cueto. I think Chapman might have wanted that one, but that appeared to be just a little in on, a little bit of cut to it right there at the end.
2-1 with 2 away. Might have broken his bat on that. And he checks it, appears to be okay, and it's 2-2. Two outs, and fouled into the seats. Whether he's dialed it down or whether it's 2 days in a row after the days off, one of the few times all year we haven't seen one over 100 miles an hour.
Right.
Dusty. You said it before this one started, Cowboy. Win game 1 when you're playing 2. And
That's
Dusty's
right.
on the steps hoping for that. 2-2. Looped into left, long run. Here comes Paul. He won't get there. 1 run will score, and it's 4-3. Kicks away. And now he comes up with it. Well, the unlikeliest, Castillo comes up with a bloop base hit. They're playing deep. And this one just does sneak in left center, and they've got a run off Chapman.
And to be honest with you, if Starlin Castro is paying any attention at all to his third base coach, this would be a 1-run game. He would have scored easily. They were waving him the entire time. And as you see the ball swipe to the left, Castro just stopped.
Now let's see if the Reds can take that and close it out with Mather coming to the plate. So Mather will pinch hit, the lone right-handed bat on the bench. The tying run down at third is Castro, and over at first is Castillo, whose run scoring hit has made this a 1-run game. And Travis Wood will come in and pinch run for Castillo.
And we know Travis Wood can fly.
showed you the numbers on Chapman, and since a blown save back in June against Minnesota, hasn't allowed a run until today in 23 appearances.
That's only the second run in the National League he's allowed.
Big swing, 0-2.
Or should I say, to a National League team. The others were to Minnesota.
That's 99. Mather pinch hitting, 3 for 21 on the season. Chapman to the stretch. First and third, 2 outs. He got him. Well, a little bit edge of the seat in the 9th inning. But the smokestacks celebrate a victory for the Reds. You can see Aroldis not happy with the inning. But Dusty Baker, Todd Frazier, the rest of the Reds are happy with a W. They take the first of 2. And the Reds, for the first time this year, 26 games over 500. They hold on for a 4-3 victory. Dusty's taking a deep breath right now, Cowboy.
Yeah, and I think everybody expects everything to be so perfect when Aroldis Chapman takes the mound, and it's not going to be that way. There are going to be days like today where he bends a little bit but does not break, and today there was a little bend, but the bottom line is he got the save and the Reds win 5-3.
Number 47 set the tone for this one. Johnny Cueto was brilliant. He'll get the win. The save goes to Chapman. More to talk about after these messages. The Reds win at 5-3.